Welcome back to The Knife Life. Today, we're going to be talking to the creators of the brand new Agni fighting knife. Stick around if you want to learn more. If you enjoy this video, like and subscribe. Now, let's get into the Agni itself. The Agni knife is the latest evolution of Silat fighting knife designed by Daniel Prasetya, supported by Jacob Richter, and then actually made by Dagr Nott. I was invited to Daniel and Jacob's school to talk about the new knife, and my first question, of course, was what was this knife specifically designed to do?
It's a survival knife that can be used on a military daily carry, especially on the war type, not too heavy, small enough, compact enough. So that's what is the design come. It has a handguard on this one, so when people play with it, it will be protect the knife. And then most of the knife either is straight blade or curve. So the design is come on the hybrid. I call it hybrid. So it will be easy to launch. It will be easy to maneuver the motion on every situation for it. That's how I design it. And then the tools or on my original design for the military has a flashlight on that, has a fire flame inside, and then there is a fire trigger in this one, and then there is a sharp serrated on the top. There is a thumb stop on the other side.
So you were mentioning straight blade versus curved blade, and so essentially this is kind of a hybrid, like you mentioned, between more of the standard straight blades and things like karambits that actually curve forwards. And so you're looking at combining the best of both worlds. So how do you really achieve that with this particular knife?
When you're holding it, it's about angle. When you're holding it on the, I call it, this is number 4, which is the regular holding. A lot of people know it. And then on my particular system, instead of you holding it reverse like that, you will put another finger behind it like this. There is a reason for it. So the maneuver when we're holding it with the straight holding and then straight reverse grip, that's become a straight blade. Okay, but if you're holding it a little bit lower, this is become more a curve but appear like a straight. So it will trick a lot of people from the other opponent side that this is basically a curve.
An important feature of this knife is that it's designed specifically for the Pencak Silat system. So Pencak Silat makes use of various grips. Can you talk us through the grips that are used with this particular knife?
Yeah, the grip that we saw, basically this is grip number 1. Yeah, I call it grip number 1. This is grip number 2. Okay, this is grip number 3. This is grip number 4. This is grip number 5. This is grip number 6. Grips number 7. Yeah.
And this knife is designed to flow into each of those very easily.
That's correct. So in order to able to do that grip, the balance of this knife is on the middle, and then that's why this knife is designed over there.
In the Silat system, there are additional reasons why a hybrid between a curved and a straight blade is desirable, and Guru Jacob Richter explained in more detail.
We've categorized it into rules, and the best explanation of rules would be if we take a curved blade like this one here. We want to know what optimizes this blade. So how is this blade most effective? And one of the rules that we have is the curved blades would be more effective away from the one holding its body than to the one holding its body because of the curves and the different type of function that you're going to utilize this clay curved blade with. Of course, in the West we would call it strong away from our body and weak closer to our body. Because of the curved nature of this blade, you could injure yourself if it was close. So this blade, curved, would be more functional away from your body if you were holding it. So on a straight blade, which would be something like this knife, we've categorized it into a rule of strength and weakness and optimization. This blade would be stronger closer to your body, and then it would be more vulnerable away from your body. So typically, when you're talking in tactical optimization, you would want to know, how can I be strong away from my body, and how could I be strong close to my body? And so with that, that's where the Agni comes in. Because if you notice, the blade held next to a straight blade has a slight curve, but then when you hold it to a more curved type of tool, then it's a little less curved, but the curve is still there. So that's the way we define hybrid. This blade would be strong away from the body, but it'll also be strong close to the body.
But while this blade is optimized for a Silat practitioner, it's still an interesting blade for people outside of the system.
And you don't necessarily have to train in Pencak Silat for this to be an effective knife for you. It's a good knife for just general knife combatives and also for survival usage as well.
Yes, you don't have to train in Pencak Silat to use this knife. Some people will say, "Oh, it's good fishing knife," and then some people using, "Oh, it's a good hunting knife." Basically, it's designed for any other situation for them.
So, can you talk to us a little bit about how this knife came into being?
The name of Agni is come from the means fire. It's happening at that time when I sit around some of the fire place, and then I see the flame, and it looks like a fire like that, and then I put the stick on it, and then the fire become curving like this on the stick. So that's how I imagine the design come to my mind at that time.
In order to bring the Agni knife into production, Daniel and Jacob teamed up with Dagr Nott in Colorado to make the Agni. In fact, the owner of Dagr Nott came out personally to talk with us.
So, of course, we can't really talk about the Agni knife without talking to the guy who actually makes it, Keller Wilson. Talk us a little bit through the process of how you actually make these knives.
Right, so these are all CPM 154 stainless steel. We order that through a steel mill. We get it either water jet cut or laser cut to our specific designs, sent out to us. Then we grind it, machine it, whatever we have to do, out to heat treat. It comes back from heat treat. Then we do Cerakoting, handle making, assembly, sharpening, and finally Kydex.
For the shaping process, are you just CNCing everything and then going ahead and doing your coating immediately after that, or are you actually doing some finish grinding on that as well in order to make sure everything lines up just exactly?
Usually it requires both. We end up doing a lot of machining, but we also do quite a bit of grinding, just because things have to match perfectly. And this is definitely one of the more bizarre, dare I say, knives I've ever made. So there's a lot of nuances and a lot of things that really need to have very close attention paid to it.
What typical handle materials are you using for this?
For this one, we went with Dymolux. Here we're using charcoal Dymolux. And what Dymolux is, it's basically a lot of stabilized panels of birch that have been laminated together and then dyed. So we use a charcoal version, but we still wanted to use a material that was, first of all, stable, because it's got to last a long time, but we wanted to use one that was natural as well. So Dymolux, even though it is stable, it is still a wood.
I've been told that you guys are looking at incorporating in additional features such as a flashlight, fire stars, those other kinds of things into this particular knife moving forwards for military and survival applications. So how are you looking to scale up and incorporate those into this knife?
Well, luckily, leaps in technology have made that much, much easier. 3D printing, milling, like I said before, machining, all sorts of things that we now have access to that we wouldn't have had maybe 10 years ago or when the actual knife was conceived. On the current design, we have that nice skeletalized interior, so that actually allows us a lot of space to be able to put in batteries, lights, wiring, whatever we would need to then go into the next application, whether that be lights, the survival application, the military application. It's just making the jump. And so far, we have a civilian version of this available. The military one is still in process.
We've been talking about the full-size knife here this entire time. Can we talk a little bit about the smaller-sized version that I'm seeing over here on the table?
Yes. So with the full-size version, we have realized and recognized that for an everyday carry, it might be a little bit too big. However, I do know many people that are carrying it every day and utilize it for their everyday carry. But we wanted to try to make sure that everybody had access to the Agni, to the advanced technologies. And so what we did was we did an exact match at 20% reduction in size. So soon we will put what we call the Agni Mini into production. As you can see, it's a little bit smaller, but it still has all the function of the large blade, of the full-size blade, but it's a little bit smaller. It measures a little bit smaller across your hand, and we think this will be a really fun tool for people. And we look to have this into production probably within the next 10 months or so.
Since this is a knife that is specifically set up for your martial art, you have to have trainers for these as well, because you can't train with live blades in a safe manner. So can you tell us a little bit about the trainers that are available for this knife?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So Steve Rollard at Keen Edge, many people watching your video here will definitely know who that is. He produces one of the best aluminum trainers in the United States. Actually, honestly, I've traveled all around the world, and I haven't found a better aluminum trainer than one from Keen Edge. They maintain their balance exactly the way the big ones, the live ones do, and they have smooth edges, which makes it a lot more safe to be able to practice. So all of our aluminum trainers come from Keen Edge.
And they match the knife pretty much exactly, and they're relatively inexpensive. Yes,
they are actually exact. On the Mini, I'll show you the Mini, the Mini side by side. They're exact. So on the PDF for the CNC machine that he's using on this, it's the exact PDF that we use to begin the rough cut on the live blade. So they're exact, and Mr. Rollard offers a really good price, so they're extremely affordable.
That concludes our look at the Agni knife for today. If you're interested about procuring one, go ahead and take a look at the links in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, again, consider liking and subscribing, and until next time, stay safe and keep living the knife life.